Welcome to another episode of Recommend TV. I'm Dorian, this is Yasin, and today we have a special guest with us who's going to talk about their film, Broken. We have none other than Juliana.
Hi, thanks guys.
How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having me on Recommend TV.
Oh, more than welcome. More than welcome. So talk to us about your film. What is it about?
I was waiting for you to finish a sentence. So Broken is basically a short film that focuses on a mother and daughter relationship, specifically a Black British young woman who's dealing with a lot of like mental health issues, and then a mother who's just kind of trying to get on with life, just do the bare minimum of just going to work, looking after her family. And the daughter decides that today's the day where she kind of confronts her mum about a lot of the issues she's kind of facing. And what you kind of see happen in Broken is the daughter confronting her mum and kind of having that conversation, and where that conversation leads kind of going forward in regards to their relationship.
Okay, got.
No, I was just going
to say the title Broken.
Yeah.
How did you get to that title? Was there a lot of titles in the making, and then you found Broken? You was like, that's the title.
To be honest, no. It started off. I didn't even have a title to start with. So when I started writing it, I knew what the story was going to be about. I didn't kind of come up with the title. The title was just like, it was just a thought, and then I was just like, I'm just going to name it that and not change it, because I find whenever I have that moment where I know what I want it to be called, it feels like that's the authentic time and the right time to kind of name it that, so I don't change it. And Broken for me, because there's just some broken people in these stories, and it just felt like it was the right kind of title for it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Obviously that was one challenge as well. Was there any other challenges that you had to face, like when you was making this short film?
Well, where do I start? To be honest with you, doing anything that has to do with producing or making something is you're going to always come across some obstacles and challenges and stuff. I think for me, because I was very much doing the project on my own, so I was pretty much the writer, the director and the producer, the challenge
Triple threat.
the challenge was doing everything on my own and kind of making the decisions on my own, and not having somebody else kind of been like, so what do you think? It's kind of like deciding and trusting my decision. But also at the same time, kind of like, I think sometimes, because I'm the kind of person that's always, I don't really want to ask people for help, and you don't want to feel like you're not hindering someone, but you're asking too much of someone and you might get let down. So a lot of the time I kind of just pulled the project on my back and kind of like carried it by myself. And I think sometimes I think those were the kind of obstacles that I faced, was just like having to do a lot of it on my own. And that's why the project took so long for me to kind of make, if that makes sense. So.
And out of those challenges, and like I said, you pulled the project on your back, and so what would you say you've learned from that going forward?
I've learned that now I've been able to connect with more people from doing the project, and I've got more people kind of knowing who I am and the work that I've done. So I feel like I can openly go to people now and kind of ask them for advice, or ask them like, I've got a project coming up. What would you recommend? Or do you know anyone? What would you recommend? Or do you know anyone? See what I did there?
We like that.
And to kind of like ask the questions about, do I know somebody who might be a sound recordist? Or I've been able to build an amazing crew just from this project, which I know there are individuals that I would use again. So I know that for a fact on the next project that I do plan to do, I've got some amazing people that I know that I would work with again, and the work wouldn't seem as stressful as it was when it has come to Broken.
So as a young female Black director and writer, let's not forget that, like, do you feel that it's a little bit more difficult for you, or do you think there's more challenges for you as yourself to go through?
Absolutely. I think just any kind of up and coming individual, like you're trying to kind of like break into a scene, it's always going to be extremely difficult, because there's, as per usual, people that kind of are in control of the industry, and trying to get your foot forward is always difficult. But as a Black woman, that's another story in itself. I think that you know, we're in kind of like the era of diversity and inclusion being extremely important, and our voices are being heard, but I don't think there's enough women voices being heard, and not just only Black women. I mean, women of color as well. You know, I can't even think of off the top of my head how many amazing female directors or female writers, and you kind of watch certain things and you hear that who it is and you think, fucking hell, that was amazing. Just so many amazing kind of like women that are just taking over the scene and stuff like that. So I think, you know, the challenges are there. I think it's just kind of just knocking those walls down and, you know, speaking to the right people and getting the right people on your side. I found that what I've done differently to who I was before and trying to start the writing and trying to do the producing as well is that I was very kind of quiet in the room, whereas now I'm very much vocal. I kind of speak up, I ask the questions rather than kind of sit in silence. And I think once you ask those questions, you allow the people in the room to know that, oh, she's listening, she's asking those questions, or they're asking those questions. And I found that's really been helpful. But yeah, no, it's not easy. And I think that we still, especially in the UK, I don't like to go to America. I think especially in the UK, you don't hear a lot about female Black writers and directors. And I think there needs to be more of us. And there is more of us, but we need to be in the forefront.
Because there's only a few, I can't say there's a few, but I know there's two that I know, which is obviously yourself now. And I don't know if you've heard of her, Ashley Jade.
The name rings a bell, yes.
Ashley Jade is a very good director. Like, she started off doing music videos, now she's trying to expand and do more. But I feel that it's a big thing for young Black female writers to try and get themselves out there, try and get themselves heard, and try and get their work out there as well. So
absolutely.
what you're doing is brilliant.
Thank you.
So if there are young female Black writers out there, what would your advice be to them if they were to write? And
determination, resilience, because you're gonna get, like, it's not an easy world. It's not an easy thing to kind of go into, because, and I was like looking at things I wanted to do, because I initially started this life of, what do I want to be? I wanted to be an actress. And I was just like, that knocked, like, university and finishing university knocked some senses into me, like, I need money. And I was just like, straight into work. And I knew I always had a passion for writing, but I never really kind of took it on. And just kind of getting to where I'm at now and the places I've been and where I've worked, I've known that it's really important to stay determined and to stay resilient, especially in certain places. Like, you might be in places that you are absolutely invisible, but it's just continuing to make your voice heard. And sometimes you might feel like you might be shut down, but just kind of get back up.
Just keep going, right?
Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie, there's been days where I'm just like, I can't do this, I'm tired, I'm having a rant. And then the following day, I'm just like, I have a woosah moment and kind of clear my mind and have some clarity and like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do it different today. And it's just being able to do that. And just, you know, networking. It's interesting that I say that, because I am such a socially awkward person, and networking isn't one of the things I tend to kind of like sit there and like, okay, so I've got to talk to that person. But it's so important. You can just talk to one person, have a conversation going for the whole night, and that could be impactful. You can exchange details, and from that moment, you don't know who that person knows and who they will connect you to. So I think it's absolutely important. When people used to say, oh yeah, networking, I'd be like, oh, fuck off, no. But it's kind of key, especially in the industry that we kind of like, the film industry and the TV industry. It's super, super important. And I think that doing those kind of things will kind of like slowly open doors for you, and it will help your name kind of go round and stuff like that. So yeah, I would say determination, resilience, and networking.
I think that's some good advice, to be honest.
Yeah.
So going back to Broken, what was your inspiration behind it? Like, where did you get your inspiration to write that?
So Broken is loosely based on a personal experience, and just kind of like the relationship I had with my mum when it comes to expressing kind of like our emotions and stuff like that. And what I found was that because of where my mum grew up and, you know, the experience she's faced, she's always kind of like, and as Black women, we're always kind of like we just get on with life. You just put your worries away, you know, all your stress, all your problems, all your kind of like dealings. You just put that on your shoulders and just get on with life. And you don't have the space to talk about it. And when you do have the space to talk about it, it's kind of like, oh, well, you've dealt with it because you seem fine anyway. So because you didn't kind of open up about it. And I wanted to really focus on kind of, you know, those conversations, but at the same time, a lot of the trauma that, you know, people face that they don't talk about, and how much of an effect it has on the people around them without them even knowing, or on themselves as well. So with Broken, it's such a layered thing, because there's so many things that even when I was writing it, that I realized, even from when people have seen it or when the actors have read the script, they're like, oh my God, there's so many things to this. And I was like, I'm just going for the, you know, the bare minimum, but you know, I get that you can see it. But yeah, no, it was loosely based on my personal experience. But at the same time, whenever I write, I want to write about the real human experience and true things that I see happening in my society or people around me. And I feel like sometimes those voices are missing from your typical everyday kind of broadcast TV shows or films. I wanted to touch on the fact that, you know, these people, it might not seem like a blockbuster story where at the end, you know, the hero comes to save the day. I wanted to touch on stories that, you know, it might be a sad ending, but bloody hell, it got me thinking, or I might know somebody that is going through that. And that's what I wanted to do. Kind of like a lot of my experiences, a lot of my inspirations is around stories that I don't feel like are heard, and especially around women and women of color, or people that are part of, that are kind of like unrepresented within kind of like the media. I like to talk about those stories as well. So those are the things that inspire me. Because
I thought it was a very well written and directed short piece. And the reason why I say that is because you touch on a subject that a lot of, from my culture, our culture especially, we don't want to talk about these sort of things. And like you said, we're taught to brush it under the carpet and not mention anything at all. And this is a result. In doing this, it affects our mental health.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? And I thought you captured that perfectly.
I think what done it for me was the pivotal moments when because you've got the daughter and then the mother, and for me, I don't know why it just sticks out for me the most. It's the language you use. So it goes from English to her native tongue, and it's almost as if like in English she's trying to shun it off, and then when she says it in her native tongue, it's like it's serious now.
Yeah.
So I really love that.
It's like telling someone off, isn't it?
Exactly. And obviously, where I grew up with my parents, it's like, it's always been a thing. When they speak my native tongue in Arabic, you know, either to be quiet or sit down and listen, because shit just got real.
Absolutely. And that's why I also wanted to touch on the cultural elements of kind of like things that people kind of face, things that are culturally kind of part and parcel of people's growing up as well. I wanted to touch on the fact that, you know, there's a scene in the kitchen and you know, helping make the food. That is part and parcel of me growing up. You know, Juliana, come to the kitchen and come and help. And it's just like, it's just those things that I wanted to kind of bring in, even though it's only short, it's a short film. I wanted to bring as much elements of authenticity when it comes to that.
I think you did that. I really think you did that.
I'll second
that. Like, it's obviously, as short as it is, there's so much.
There's a lot in it, to be fair. Like you said, it's a lot of layers, but the way you wrote it and the way it was shot, it's not overwhelming. There are moments where you go, oh God. Like, I remember watching, I was like, oh damn, that took a dark turn. But it's not so much, it's not overwhelming or anything like that. It's really good, well shot.
Thank you.
And talking about well shot, let's talk about the actors that were in it as well. Please fill us in. Obviously, it's only 2 of them. Yeah, but tell us about the mum, tell us about the daughter as well.
They are absolutely amazing. I am so glad to have had them work on this short. Like, honestly, they're amazing women. So Tommy Ogunjobi plays the mother, Susan. and Dorcas A. Stevens plays Tabitha.
That's a familiar.
Surname sounds familiar, yeah.
And she happens to be my sister.
No way. No way.
Would never have guessed that.
Honestly, guys. So some people may know, some people may not know that my sister's actually a working actress. So, so to have her on the project, I did make her audition. Don't ever get it twisted, because a lot of people will be like, "Oh, nepotism," you know? No.
No, but then again, at the same time, sometimes you need to look out for your own. You know
Absolutely,
what I mean?
but I
You need
think
to give them the spot.
yeah, very true. But I think I got people. I literally asked, put out a casting notice.
Okay.
Got people to send self tapes, and for me, kind of like seeing her tape and her to be able and her ability to convey obviously the character kind of was just like, I had shivers.
Yeah.
And I've seen my sister act and I'm like, oh yeah, you good and stuff. But that for me, I was just like, I think she's just gonna do this wonders.
Yeah.
And I've seen Tommy's work beforehand. Okay. So I reached out to a friend who's a director and writer, and I'd seen her in a couple of his films. And I was like, I'm looking for a Nigerian a Nigerian kind of like actress who can play a mother who's of a certain age. And I was literally like, couldn't find anyone, put out like a call out on Twitter, nothing. And I was just like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? So I just reached out to him and he's like, oh, I know Tommy. I was like, yeah, that's who I was hoping you would say. And you said it, I was like, fantastic. So I kind of like sent her the script and I was hoping she would like it, and I was hoping she'd say, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And then she's like, yeah, of course I'm gonna do it. So I was like, yes, because she, for me, when I've seen her in films, short films beforehand, the stillness and she doesn't have to say much, but her facial,
the way she is, the persona, the aura she gives off,
just does it.
Yeah,
and it was just kind of like, I had to have her. So when she kind of said yes, I was like, oh my God, it's complete. This is going to be amazing. So them two, and they're working together, just absolutely amazing. Yeah. Absolutely amazing.
It's very believable as well.
Yeah.
Like you would actually think that they were related somehow.
So Juliana, in the future, do you have any more projects in the pipeline? Are they going to be dramas, or are you going to switch up the genre a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. To be honest with you, I'm always kind of constantly writing or thinking of ideas. At the moment, I'm working on a theatre piece, which is more of a comedy kind of thing. So it's a one-woman show, and I'm really excited that I'm writing that at the moment. And I'm on the Soho Theatre's Writers Lab, so I'm doing that via Soho Theatre. So I'm really excited for that. But at the same time, I'm thinking about documentaries. I have documentary ideas, I've got drama ideas, I've got thriller ideas as well. So nothing is ever kind of like too small for me to do, or too big for me to do. So yeah, no, the world's my oyster.
Cool.
Yeah.
We're excited to see what you come up with next.
Thank you.
And last but not least,
Yes.
what would you recommend myself and Yasin to watch right now? What are you watching that we should be watching as well?
Oh, okay. I like this question. So I'm a Netflix fiend.
So are we. This could potentially be our next video. What do you recommend could not be on our next video?
I'm currently watching again BoJack Horseman.
Okay. See, hit and miss for me.
No.
Is it good?
I love the humour.
Okay.
We'll
give it a go.
But that's right up your street, because he's an actor or something like that. And
yeah, and he's an actor who's no longer, he's a washed up actor, and he's trying to write a book. But he's got like a ghostwriter to write his book. But he's an absolute prick as well. But there's certain elements about him that's very kind of like.
I'm already want to watch it. He's a prick. I'm about it.
It's really, and kind of just like other people around him as well. They're also equally hilarious, and you get even though they're animals / human beings as well, but you can see like with the animal characters how very much, you probably feel like you know a human being that's that animal character. I'm
pretty sure we would.
So that's what I'm currently watching now again.
All right, cool.
Nice.
Well, thanks for coming and answering all our questions. Really enjoy that, and congrats again on your film.
No, honestly, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Hey guys, Dorian here. Click here to subscribe, or check out some more videos over there. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Recommend TV.